Trump is expected to be arrested in Manhattan next week. Former president slams Biden and Dems after Manhattan grand jury voted to indict him over $130,000 hush money paid to porn star Stormy Daniels. Warns this witch hunt will backfire. Donald Trump reacted with fury on Thursday, as news broke that a Manhattan jury had voted to indict him over $130,000 in hush money paid to porn star Stormy Daniels. He said Democrats would regret ever persecuting an innocent man when his supporters dumped them out of office, and he is expected to travel to Manhattan next week to be formally arrested, according to a source familiar with the plans, who said the head of his security detail traveled recently to New York to liaise with prosecutors. The Democrats have lied, cheated, and stolen in their obsession with trying to get Trump, but now they've done the unthinkable, indicting a completely innocent person in an act of blatant election interference, Trump said in an emailed statement. Never before in our nation's history has this been done. The indictment marks the end of a 5-year investigation into cash paid to the adult movie star in 2016, allegedly to buy her silence about their affair, and it takes the country into uncharted political and legal territory. Although being charged with a crime would not disqualify him from running for office, it does mean a leading 2024 candidate faces the humiliation of arrest. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said talks had begun to bring Trump to Manhattan. This evening we contacted Mr. Trump's attorney to coordinate his surrender to the Manhattan DA's office for arraignment on a Supreme Court indictment, which remains under seal, he said. Earlier, Trump played 9 holes of golf at his Florida club as usual on Thursday morning, but the 76-year-old did not stay for lunch, even though his usual table was reserved. A source close to his Mar-a-Lago home said the Trump team was ready with statements and social media messaging as soon as the indictment dropped. We had a plan in place, and the plan was executed, he said. Getting surrogates out. Getting content out. Within minutes, his sons Don Jr. and Eric were livecasting or tweeting, and an emailed statement arrived from Trump himself in inboxes soon after. I believe this witch hunt will backfire massively on Joe Biden, said Trump, before criticizing the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The American people realize exactly what the radical left Democrats are doing here. Everyone can see it. So our movement and our party, united and strong, will first defeat Alvin Bragg, and then we will defeat Joe Biden. And we are going to throw every last one of these crooked Democrats out of office, so we can make America great again. The indictment landed out of the blue on Thursday, after reports that the New York grand jury hearing evidence against Trump was taking a month-long break. It leaves a city braced for protests. All uniformed members of the New York Police Department need to be prepared for deployment, according to memo obtained by the New York Times. His lawyers, Susan Nichols and Joseph Tacopina, promised to fight the political prosecution in court. President Trump has been indicted. He did not commit any crime, they said. Although he is the first former president to be criminally charged, he is not the first presidential candidate to be criminally charged. Eugene Debs, convicted of sedition and jailed for his opposition to World War I, ran for president 5 times. It marks a victory for the office of the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg. Bragg's office has been probing a $130,000 hush money payment made by Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, to Daniels, 44, during the 2016 presidential campaign. The Trump camp was quick to blast the indictment on Thursday night, with Eric Trump telling DailyMail.com, "It is the opportunistic targeting of a political opponent." The White House declined to comment on the Trump indictment when asked by DailyMail.com. Meanwhile, it also emerged on Thursday New York prosecutors were looking to charge Trump over a $150,000 payment made to another former Playboy model. Bragg's team has questioned grand jury witnesses about cash given to Karen McDougal, who was Playboy magazine Playmate of the Year in 1998. Eric Trump told DailyMail.com, "This is the opportunistic targeting of a political opponent in a campaign year. They are ruthlessly attacking my father because he dared challenge the political elite. This is Exhibit A to the decline of American law." The former president has always denied having an affair with Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, but the case dogged him through his time in office, after triggering a federal investigation. In 2017, Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 federal charges, including tax evasion, fraud and campaign finance violations, and he told a court in Manhattan that Trump had directed him to make the payments. But the investigation disappeared from the headlines as other legal cases focused on Trump's family business and his actions around the January 6th 2021, riot hogged the spotlight, but it never went away. Although the Justice Department decided not to charge Trump and the Federal Election Commission was deadlocked over taking action over claims that the payment amounted to an undeclared campaign contribution, the Manhattan DA was still looking at the case. And it took on fresh momentum early in 2023, when Cohen met with investigators from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and it emerged that a grand jury was hearing evidence. Such hearings are conducted in secret, but one theory was that it was probing Trump for falsifying business records in connection with the payment, allegedly misreporting a campaign donation as illegal fees. That amounts to a misdemeanor, but that rises to a felony if it is done in conjunction with a second crime, such as a campaign finance violation. Then in March, Bragg's office asked Trump to testify, in the clearest sign yet that he could be indicted. The former president confirmed as much in a social media post at the weekend, calling on supporters to rise up in protest. The far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week, he posted on his Truth Social platform. Protest, take our nation back. The final act was reportedly the repeat testimony of Trump lawyer Robert Costello on Monday. He was asked to appear by the former president's legal team because he may have evidence that contradicted Cohen's account. Privately, Trump's allies are confident that the case has little substance. An insider told DailyMail.com that it strengthens him politically, rallying the base in his support. It is very obvious that this is helpful, he said. He added that to get the second charge, elevating the case to a felony, prosecutors would have to show that Trump wanted to cover up an affair to help his campaign, even though the business mogul's love life had been front-page news in New York for decades. Of course, no one wants to be indicted, but it is helpful politically and legally. It's not even that much of a threat, because the case is so weak and looks nakedly political, added the source. Legal experts have also weighed in on the case's failings. Although it may be politically popular, the case is legally pathetic, said Jonathan Turley, Shapiro Professor of Public Interest Law at the George Washington University, in a column for The Hill. Bragg is struggling to twist state laws to effectively prosecute a federal case long ago rejected by the Justice Department against Trump over his payment of $money to former stripper Stormy Daniels in 2018. Yes, that is how long this theory has been around. I wrote how difficult such a federal case would be under existing election laws. Now, 6 years later, the same theory may be shoehorned into a state claim. Meanwhile, on Thursday it emerged Manhattan DA Bragg's team has questioned grand jury witnesses about cash given to Karen McDougal, who was Playboy magazine Playmate of the Year in 1998. McDougal claimed she had a 10-month affair with Trump which began in 2006. Trump's office released a statement on Thursday branding the development a hoax. Evidence about payments to McDougal could either be used to bring new charges or establish a pattern of behavior for the Daniels case, sources told the Wall Street Journal, which revealed the development. A spokesman for Trump said, "It is sad to see radical Democrats and their partners in the media try to resurrect a dead witch hunt. Just like with every other hoax that President Trump has been targeted with, there is no crime, except for election interference through weaponization of our justice system against President Trump and his supporters." Bragg's office and McDougal's lawyer hadn't commented on the latest development on Thursday afternoon. American Media Incorporated, the owner of the National Enquirer, paid $150,000 to McDougal in 2016 for exclusive rights to the story about her alleged affair with Trump, which he denies. But the purchase was a catch-and-kill tactic to prevent the story being made public. The Federal Election Commission later ruled that the company and its former president, David Pecker, struck the deal with Trump officials in order to suppress the story and prevent it from influencing the election. The FEC ruling detailed how Pecker and Ami met with Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen to help make negative stories about Trump and his relationships go away, and it concluded that Ami coordinated with the Trump campaign in paying $150,000 to McDougal. Pecker gave evidence to the Trump grand jury on Monday.